We're about a month into the NHL season and vibes aren't great for the Golden Knights. This time on City Beat, we're talking about the recent string of losses, Shea Theodore's play, and the impending arrival of Carter Hart. All that and so much more coming up right now.
From Las Vegas, this is City Beat.
Hello, and thanks so much for joining us here on City Beat. I'm your host, Mike Davis. City Beat is the show that dissects the Vegas sports world through the eyes of the sports reporters and storytellers leading the charge. This time, we're breaking down everything VGK. The worry spreading across the valley as this team has lost 8 of their last 11. Joining the panel today, we have Case Kiefer, assistant sports editor with the Las Vegas Sun. Chris Gawlik, co-host of Locked on VGK podcast, which you can find right here on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network, and our very own Vince Sapienza, sports anchor and reporter here at Fox 5 Las Vegas. So thanks so much for being with us, guys. So get this, the Golden Knights suffered their first regulation loss of the season on October 25th versus the Florida Panthers. Since that game, they have lost 8 of their last 11, with 4 of those losses coming in overtime. So overtime has not been a friend for this team. Vince, what's wrong with the Golden Knights right now?
Well, to put it simply, it's secondary scoring, right? Everybody's going to look at the goaltending, and that's an easy answer, I think, at this point of the season because teams are trying to find themselves. But when you look at the secondary scoring, Jack Eichel was off to a historic pace to start this season. And it didn't matter what everyone else was doing because he was doing everything by himself. Now, that offense has dried up a little bit. He's still over a point per game player, but when you look at the secondary scoring, the rest of the lineup, another injury to Mark Stone, and you pare it down to lines 2, 3, and 4. They've gotten absolutely nothing from the fourth line. Third and second line have been hit or miss at best. And when you have that and you're in these one-goal games, you need either a save or an extra goal. And right now, the Golden Knights aren't getting either.
Yeah, injuries have been critical for this team. Case, what's your take? How worried are you?
My worry level is minimal to none, despite all this.
Really?
I think there's reason. Yeah, you've lost 4 of 5 games. What you told me, 8 of 11. I didn't even realize. But you look, it seems like so much has gone wrong. And let's take a glance at the standings. In the Pacific, they've played fewer games than almost everyone, and they're 2 points back in the standings. I just feel like it's the ebbs and flows of hockey. The other thing that's really encouraging to me, and the depth is a big concern. Vince nailed it. He answered the question exactly the way I would have, only more eloquently. But there's ebbs and flows of a hockey season. Their underlying numbers are still pretty good. They're probably unlucky to have lost as many games as they have, and they've still eked out some points in them. So I think long-term this team's going to be just fine. They're just hitting a little bit of a bump earlier than we're used to for Vegas.
Okay, Chris, these past 11 games, losing these 8, how are you feeling?
I'm not going to jump off the bridge with Vince, and I don't think it's as sunshine and rainbows as Case is going to say, but somewhere in the middle. Secondary scoring, Vince. The third line has accounted for a goal in each of the last 3 games. Things are getting better. Fourth line is a bit of a concern, unfortunately, but the third line has things going. As far as the goaltending, Akira Schmidt right at a 900 save percentage, 900. Not bad. I think 6-1-2, 7-1-2. So leading in, there's going to be a little bit of crowd in the net once Carter Hart does possibly join this picture.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about that in a little bit as well. Of course, the injuries as well. But Vince, I mean, overall, it sounds like you are maybe the most negative right now.
I mean, I guess
what do you
if you want to paint that picture, sure. I don't think there's worry with the Golden Knights. I just think it's the reality of the situation. When you look at the Golden Knights, what has been their claim to fame since they got here? It's depth scoring. That has not been there at all this season. While, yeah, it's getting a little bit better, it's still not where it needs to be. And when you talk about an entire line, like the fourth line not generating any offense, the Golden Knights have been known to have that quote-unquote identity line chip in just a little bit. None of that has been happening. Could it come? Sure, absolutely. But right now, it's not. In terms of worry, my biggest concern is not so much the scoring, because I think this team is too talented to not find the back of the net on a consistent basis and being one of the upper echelon teams in that manner. This team is still trying to find itself defensively and keep goals out of the net. And while goaltending has been fine, it has been terrible, but it hasn't been great. They haven't been bailed out in that aspect. They're still trying to find their way without Alex Pietrangelo. That is the biggest elephant in the room, something that hasn't been talked about of late. He's not coming back anytime soon, if at all. And they're still trying to pan out those minutes, see who's going to take those tougher assignments. It's been shelled out to Shea Theodore, Braden McNabb, things of that nature. But as that tries to work itself out, you're not getting the offense from the blue line, which, again, this team has also been accustomed to.
Well, that's why he is Vince Sapienza, ladies and gentlemen. And guess what, Vince? Here on Sin City Beat, we do talk about the elephant in the room.
Oh, do we?
So that's going to be coming up in a little bit.
Alrighty.
We actually might even bring an elephant into the studio.
That'd be great. I would
We're going to
love
do
that.
that for you. All right. Of course, goalie play has been top of mind. We've spoken about that for the past few minutes. How soon will we see Carter Hart in the net? That's when we come back.
You're watching Sin City Beat.
All right, here's the deal. The goalie play has been weak for the Knights this season. From Hill and Lindbaum to Schmid, there's reason for concern. So this begs the question, just how soon will we see new Knight Carter Hart? Case, what's your take on when that impending return or arrival could appear?
I think all indications are pretty soon. He's eligible December 1st. He started for the Henderson Silver Knights for the first time a few days before you're watching this. I really think with the way the goalie situation is going, and I mean both Schmid and Lindbaum, I think maybe we've been a little too harsh on them. They've had moments, but neither of them has been great. I think they're going to want to get Carter Hart in there. He looked pretty good in his one start in Henderson so far. I think they're going to get him in there, see what they have out of him, and you'll see him in net sooner rather than later.
Chris, you were alluding to, I bet, was it Lindbaum or Schmid's 900 percentage? Schmid. Okay, so you're alluding to that. What's your feeling on the goalie play so far? Is Carter Hart going to be somebody that is really going to save this team?
I don't know if save is the word. There's a lot of people who are very concerned about Hart's arrival. Now there's a lot of people celebrating the fact that Hart could certainly help the situation.
And you're saying concerned about the arrival because of off-the-ice issues, or in what sense?
All the above. Off-the-ice issues, there are many concerns. That does have the fan base a bit divided, and rightfully so. It's okay. It's everyone's right to have their feelings about what's happening. But on the ice, we're talking about someone who hasn't played in a couple of seasons. Very good goaltender with Philly, 906, 907, 905 save percentage. Like you said last night, 12 of 14 saves. In his debut with the Henderson Silver Knights, and I think they come right in. December 2nd is the first game the Golden Knights have when he's eligible against my former love, the Chicago Blackhawks, and then I think it's here December the 11th or December the 19th, the Golden Knights travel to Philadelphia to play the Flyers, so that'll be very...
and I believe that game was even flexed to more of a national game, so there's a lot of potential there that could be a homecoming for him of sorts. Vince, you were making a lot of great points in the first block about how this is a team that defensively, with Pietrangelo gone, has been at a deficit. And goalie play, if it could be better, would be a helpful thing with him gone. What's your feeling on the goalie play so far? Is Carter Hart going to be a savior of sorts?
So Akira Schmid has been fine, right? He hasn't been terrible. He hasn't been bad. He started, I believe it was 4-0. But there's been saves that he hasn't made. Bruce Cassidy's talked about it. You need a save or two, and especially in these close games where I believe 5 of their last 8 games have been decided by a single goal.
Right.
I mean, you need one of those saves, and you need an upper echelon goaltender to make those saves. Right now, the Golden Knights don't have that in Akira Schmid, and as good as he's been for them, he's not of that ilk or of that talent. He's got to work a little bit harder. Carl Lindbaum is 22 years old. The potential on this kid is sky high. I could not be more in on Carl Lindbaum, but he's not the right now. He's getting good looks. He's getting good experience.
So he's the future.
100%. This is a kid I believe could be a #1 goaltender in the NHL. That's just me.
Wow.
He's of smaller stature, but every VGK scout I've talked to gushes over this kid. Now, the biggest thing with him is he needs experience. He needs time. He took the #1 job in Henderson last year. He needed to play more games in Henderson this year. Injuries don't allow him to do that. That being said, back to your question with Carter Hart. I would not be surprised in the slightest if the Stanley Cup playoffs start and Carter Hart is the #1 goalie for the Golden Knights. And
really,
I would not
over Hill.
I would not be shocked in the slightest. The Golden Knights do not make this move unless they believe he is a #1 goaltender moving forward. Carter Hart does not sign in Vegas, despite everything that was going on, unless he believed he had a real opportunity to be a #1 goaltender for this organization. If Carter Hart gets back to anything close that he was in Philly. And remember, Philly was not a good defensive. You know this better probably than most.
I'm from Philly.
Philly was not a good defensive team when he was in the net. They did not have the talent around him. The Golden Knights feel that they are better equipped with a goaltender of his stature, of his potential on the ice, to be that number one. And I think that's why they made the signing. I do believe we'll see him very quickly as soon as he is reinstated by the NHL on December 1st. That being said, I would bet quite a bit that we will not see him play in Philly. I do not think the Golden Knights would put him out against the Flyers. That's just my 2 cents based on...
Friendly bet, let's go.
Okay. All right, as much as people would love to see that, we'll see.
I would love to see it. I think it would be fantastic.
Vince is saying it's not going to happen. All right, well, guys, we've spoken about this. We've alluded to it, the elephant in the room. With Alex Pietrangelo gone, Shea Theodore has stepped up. We're going to be talking more about his great defensive play as well as Barbashev's after these words. A prolonged hip injury caused Alex Pietrangelo to step away from the NHL. In his absence, Shea Theodore has stepped up big time, so has Barbashev. Now, Chris, how surprised have you been by their play so far with Pietrangelo gone?
Golden Knights are 11th in the league in goals against, number 1. That's not bad. The pairing of Shea Theodore and Braden McNabb actually ranks at the top of the league in goals given up for a defensive pairing that has played 150 minutes or greater together. Their average goals against per 60 minutes is .89. That's not bad.
So you're Pietrangelo gone. It's not as big of a blemish as you think.
Oh, no. Pietrangelo's a friggin' warrior. Pietrangelo gone has been extremely painful for this Vegas Golden Knights team. No doubt about that. You are not going to replace Pietrangelo. There's very few players in the league that possess that. But as bad as we thought that was going to hurt, the underlying metrics suggest that this team is getting by. Now, Noah Hannafin, I think we need to see morph into a little more of a mobile, puck-moving defenseman that has the responsibility level that Pietrangelo had, and we have not seen that part of Hannafin's game yet.
Okay. Case, do you share the same feelings as Chris?
Yeah, I mean, I think we always knew they were going to be growing pains, but honestly, I think worst case scenario, the growing pains could have been way worse than this. And I think it might a lot come down to what Chris said. Do you believe in Noah Hannafin? And personally, I do. The guy played 1 game, then was out a long time. He's been back, a week and a half now? I still think it's fair to say he's not at his top level. I think, you're not going to replace Alex Pietrangelo, but if you can have Shea Theodore look the way he's looked the last week or so, I know he's been up and down. If you can have him and Noah Hannafin playing at a high level, again, the underlying numbers is what I'm always going to go back to. They still look strong there. There's still not many teams in the NHL you're taking over this roster, and Cassidy's history with defense, I think they're going to have this figured out.
Do you have more concern over goalie play or just defensive play in general?
Right now, it's got to be goalie play. I mean, but that's a lot of injuries too. And it's weird. I think when Vince talked about depth scoring, you can kind of just say depth in general, because this has always been a franchise that we've seen goalies miss a lot of time, and there's been a guy that stepped up and really taken the reins. And even though Lindbaum's shown flashes, Schmid's only had a couple disastrous games. They really haven't flashed. I just think all these injuries are adding up. It's kind of the way the team's built now, but I would say goalie at the moment is a bigger concern to me.
Okay, Vince, your feelings on this?
Yeah, well, when I said secondary scoring, that included defense, like defensive scoring. The Golden Knights made their hay getting contributions and points and production from their blue line. And right now, that hasn't come as often as it has come in years prior. A big reason is the Pietrangelo. Pietrangelo's gone. Not only was he producing from an offensive level, he was shutting down from a defensive perspective as well. And so when you ask Shea Theodore, for example, to uptick his defensive responsibilities, it's going to limit his ability to put points on the board. You also couple that with the arrival of Mitch Marner. Now, Mitch Marner is one of the best defensive forwards in the National Hockey League, but Mitch Marner is now in the top power play. Mitch Marner's spot on the top power play is running the power play, which went to Shea Theodore. So now Shea Theodore is not even on the top power play unit, which is where, I don't want to say made his hay, but that's where he was really, really good at, right? And that's where he racked up a lot of his points. So you're not, and Bruce Cassidy talks about it all the time. Players, especially skilled players like a Shea Theodore, an Eichel, or Stone, they need touches on the puck. They need to feel the puck, and Shea Theodore is not getting as many touches on the puck because he's not on the power play. He's on power play 2. Well, power play 1 doesn't come off the ice until 30 seconds left in the man advantage. So you couple all of that together.
Right.
Shea Theodore's not getting as many offensive opportunities. He has to do what he did in overtime the other day, or goes coast to coast and just takes it on himself. It's still all there.
So what I'm getting from this is that you're saying because Theodore's being asked to do more, we're not able to reap the benefits.
Yeah, you're
of
not
his
unlocking
offensive
his
play.
full offensive potential because he has to stay back a little bit because he is playing more minutes. Even if it's a couple more minutes based on his average, it is still more minutes. It's still penalty kill minutes. It's still defensive zone
and
minutes.
Shed a little bit more light, Vince, on the impact or how that affects the play of Marner, because I'm curious about being the top prize in free agency. It's kind of like how they talk a lot in the NBA about, having two ball dominant guards. We talk a lot about that. As you translate that to the NHL, it's like Marner, Eichel, these are two guys that really do like to have the puck.
Yeah, well, with Marner, he obviously takes Shea's spot on the power play. That's one big thing. The other part is with Marner on the power play still runs through Jack Eichel. Let's not make any bones about it. Mitch Marner's not used to that. Mitch Marner's the one that has everything run through him in Toronto. That's why Austin Matthews scored all the goals.
Right.
He never transported the puck.
Jack
Eichel transports the puck.
Do you think a month and a half into this season he's adapting to this new situation?
I think it's still clunky at best. I think that's why we see Mitch Marner separated from Jack Eichel. In a perfect world, okay, Chris, tell me. In a perfect world, Jack Eichel, Mitch Marner on the same line, points galore. Right? But when you have two puck-dominant guys that want to transport, want to carry, want to be the playmakers, there's only one puck.
Only one puck.
So that's why you have to separate them in order for them to get the best out of them.
So if you were Bruce Cassidy, if you're coaching this team deep into the playoffs, your take is I want Carter Hart in goal, and what do you want to? I get that. What do you want to see with Marner and Eichel, and
I think you have
how
to
do we
separate
create?
them.
You
I
have
think
to.
The Golden Knights at their best, you have to separate them. It's how you. It also helps if Mark Stone's on in the lineup, which cannot be a guarantee moving forward, or you can't rely on him to be there for an entire season. History dictates that. But in a perfect world, Stone and Eichel are paired together, Barbashev right there. And then you have Marner, Hurdle, Dorofeyev. And then the bottom six looks like a juggernaut because your top is so top heavy. I think you have to separate them when you have two puck-dominant players on the ice.
Guys, this is why I love Sin City. I could feel my brain getting bigger just talking with all these guys. A lot of good stuff here. Don't go anywhere. We have more Sin City Beat when we return. All right, welcome back to Sin City Beat. Mike Davis here with you. So we're about a month and a half into the season, and I'm curious how worried our panel is right now. So Vince, your concern level, 1 to 10. How is this team or championship prospects? Are they out the window? Which 1 to 10, 10 being the worst? What's your level of concern?
I feel like I was painted to have this terrible negative connotation on the team.
10.
But when you lose 8 of 11, it's hard to paint them in a positive light. That being said, I have zero worry of this team. It's far too talented. It's far too skilled, and there is plenty of depth. You look at a guy like Braden Bowman, who comes out of Henderson, kind of out of nowhere, signed his first contract 6 months ago, and he looks the part. He does look like a mini Mark Stone in a sense of where he's situated and how he plays. But I have zero concern. I still think this is a team that should be in the Final Four when it's all said and done. That's how talented I think they are, even with their goaltending question marks.
Okay, Case, your level of worry, concern.
Yeah, maybe I'm more concerned than this. I'd go a 1. I wouldn't go a 0. I'd go a 1. I mean, there are some issues there, but I think our difference in the earlier was that Vince was really reacting to the right now, where I was looking long term, and these hockey seasons are long. You're just going to go through ups and downs. They're going to reel off like 8 or 9 in a row sometime here, and we're going to be planning the Stanley Cup parade, and we're going to be going too far then, just like I feel like we're going too far now. It's the nature of the business, but I really would not be concerned about this.
Yeah, I mean, tons of injuries. It's hard to, you have to bake that into the cake and what the situation is. Chris, I know with everything you do with Locked On VGK with Tony Cordasco, you guys have a little bit of a, good cop, bad cop kind of.
Which one's the good cop?
Yeah, that's what I wanted to know.
Well, that's why I'm curious. I'll let
Tony's
you.
not here, so
By that look, you're the bad cop. No, look at that look. That's
If
a bad
I get to
cop
answer the
look.
question, I'm going to be the bad cop. I'm about a 7 as far as concerns right now.
Really?
The Golden Knights have been able to get by without Mark Stone for large pockets of the last few seasons and been better than a 500 team. Now without Mark Stone, things have gotten very bad. Power play is struggling mightily. You are having a hard time seeing Coach Cassidy figure out the lines. So that's why I have a bigger concern right now. Yes, secondary scoring is getting better. Yes, we're starting to see some defensive scoring. A month from now, is it still going to look like this? I'm not so sure.
Chris, to be a 7, you look very relaxed right now. What would you say?
Do I look nervous to you?
No. Do you say internally you're handling it well?
I'm handling, the Jordan Bennington reference, if you got that from a while back.
Yeah.
No, listen, the Golden Knights, there's pedigree, there's history, there's a lot of good things happening with this team, and you have to trust Coach Cassidy. You have to trust his ability to right the ship. And like I said, there's underlying metrics that suggest the team is doing better, from high danger chances for. I'm a process before results type of person.
Okay.
Islanders game was rough, but that was the goaltending. They tripled up the Islanders in high danger chances that game. So there's some good things happening, but I want to see this team succeed without Mark Stone for a little bit.
Okay, we just got about 20, 30 seconds, Vince. Last word on this. Any worry about the off the ice stuff with Carter Hart or no?
What happened, and he's been acquitted. They moved on. He signed his contract. He's going to be reinstated December 1st, and that is the end of that story as it pertains to the Golden Knights.
Okay, all right. So much good stuff here on Sin City Beat this time. Make sure you go check out Locked On VGK. It's on our sister network, Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network. Thanks to you, Chris, and of course, shout out to Tony, Case Kiefer, Las Vegas Sun. We love you. Thanks for always being here, and the genius, the brilliant Vince Sapienza. Thanks so much for spending some time with us. I'm Mike Davis. We'll see you next time here on Sin City Beat, and I need to take a sip out of my Ed Bernstein injury attorney mug. We'll see you guys next time.